Happy holidays, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Molly,
I'm Michael.
and today we're here in person together to
Yay.
record a very exciting episode. We want to take a look back on 2025 as a whole of reality TV and give our own awards. We're calling it the Chatties. So we have some different categories and want to go through each of our nominees, and then we'll choose the winner of each category. So I'm excited for that. But before we get started, just wanted to hear overall what your thoughts are on reality TV as a whole in 2025.
Yeah, I think it was a good year for a lot of shows. It feels like there are certain types of shows that have grown to be so huge and so relevant in the last couple of years. Like in 2024, of course, we saw Love Island, season 6 blew up. And then this year, it felt like Big Brother had a great year. BB27 felt like it was more relevant than Big Brother has been in the last couple of years. Of course, Dancing with the Stars over the last few years has been growing momentum, and this year just exploded in a way that I don't think anyone could have ever anticipated. So I feel like those interactive shows, those real time shows where the audience feels like they are involved and can campaign for their favorites and can have some say in the matter, it feels like those are the types of shows that have really grown and that audiences are really loving. And it makes me wonder if more shows will try to find ways to implement that into them, because those are the ones that feel like right now are growing. So yeah, I think that for a lot of shows it was a great year, and then there are certain shows, of course, that continue to decline, but that's always going to be the case.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, especially Dancing with the Stars, with it being such a big record breaking season this year, obviously had a great season for that, as well as the shows you also were mentioning. But I feel like, as we'll probably touch on this as well, just some of the shows that really couldn't build that momentum, and some of them unfortunately aren't going to get renewed as well because of that. So that wasn't so great. But overall, I feel like it was a very solid year for reality TV.
Yeah, no, and I'm excited to go back through because as I
Yeah,
was going through my list, it was like, oh my gosh, these shows were this year, these
I know.
calendar years. Some of these that were January, February feel like so long ago.
Yeah.
But it's hard, it's easy to forget a lot of the shows that we discussed throughout a whole year. But I'm excited to go back through and reminisce.
Yes, me too. So, shall we get started with our first
Yes.
award? We have our notes app on our phone with all of our options in
Yeah, I'm
here.
excited. I don't know that we explained this fully, but I have
Yeah.
not seen your nominees. You have
Yeah.
not seen my nominees. So we are going to be finding out for the first time what each other picked and then discuss each of the nominees and figure out which one we can come to a consensus as is the winner.
Yes, let's do it. And may have some overlaps too. So, maybe that's maybe easier to choose a winner if we have
Exactly.
an overlap on
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So, our first category is our reality TV moment of the year. So, you want to read your first option, then I do my first. We go back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So my first was Jeremiah being coupled up with Iris on Love Island
Oh.
season 7. That was quite a moment on the season of Love Island, which again, like last year, blew up and was a huge cultural phenomenon yet again. And it felt like this was the moment that everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
So that was Huda's reaction, and then Amaya's reaction, and everybody just flabbergasted. And that moment changed the course of the season to me. So that was, I think, a very memorable moment.
That's a good one. Okay, so my first one, this is going back towards beginning 2025, but it was Real Housewives of Salt Lake City finale, season 5, when they
Oh.
read their worst text messages that they've sent each other while just filming. So
One
that was
foot on a
great.
banana peel and one foot in the grave. What was it
I
that I
don't
can't remember
know.
anymore? But
Yeah,
yeah,
those were just wild
ooh,
TV moment for sure, memorable. So
that was a
yeah,
great moment.
yeah,
Yeah, I kind of forgot that we discussed
yeah,
that episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because the Bravo shows are not ones that we normally cover, so that
yeah.
didn't even really it crossed my mind as an option. But yeah, that was a great moment. That was a very unique finale
Yes, for sure.
that Salt Lake always delivers.
Yeah.
My next one was from our beloved and gone too soon Dondi.
Mm.
David Janae winning $5.8 million. That was I mean, record breaking. I guess maybe not quite record breaking because Mr. Beast's show. I think the winner
Mhm.
ended up winning 10 million, even though 5 million was advertised for that. But that was still, I mean, quite an insane moment, an episode, because the whole episode was just a game of Deal or No Deal, which normally is so boring. That's the worst part of a Dondi episode is the
Yeah.
Deal or No Deal game usually because
Yeah.
it goes on for way too long. But that one, just watching him, and I think we all knew what the ending was going to be in a way.
Yeah.
I don't think we knew the exact amount. I don't think we
I
knew,
know.
but we knew that something that was going to be a record was going to be broken. But just watching it happen and be like, wait, is this where it's gonna end? Wait, no, no, no. Wait, no, you're still going? Like that moment was just so like my heart was racing. And it was a very good episode of reality television.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that it was even allowed to be that high of an amount for this kind of show that, well,
Well,
yeah,
that might have been what ended it.
maybe. But it was great to see David win all that money and excited for him, but crazy, crazy ending of that
Yeah,
season.
and it was, of course, the beginning of Parvati and David's relationship
Yeah.
that then we saw continue on AU versus the World.
Yeah.
So that was a very important season of reality TV as well.
For sure. Well, that actually is a good segue because my next moment was for AU versus the world with Parvati, a tribal council,
Mhm.
and everyone's faces, and just her surprisingly, like saving her, not saving herself, but getting through tribal council without having to use her power,
Yeah,
knowledge's power, and just that moment. Just I was in awe of Parvati's skills and all of that, and her overall the whole season, but just in that moment especially of that just was incredible.
that was a historic tribal for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really, really good episode and a double tribal
Yeah.
it ended up being. But yeah, especially that first part was pretty insane, and I think a very good moment as well that I
Yeah.
was not on my list. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought it up because
Well,
I was certainly it was in consideration for me.
well, yeah, we have no overlap so far. So
So
we have
far,
four
no.
unique options so far. Now we have two left. So what's your last option here?
So my last one, and I have to say what almost I put here as
Okay.
well because it was both from the same season and show. It was both Big Brother 27 moments. The one
Okay.
that I was in consideration was Ashley trying to change her
Oh my gosh.
vote.
That one was good.
That was almost I almost put it, but then I had to change it to Riley being evicted
Oh.
because it was such an insane sequence of events that led to that nobody thought was going to happen. It was one of
Mhm.
those things that even our friend Taryn Armstrong was thinking it's probably not going to happen. Like he was like, this has to happen, then this has to happen, then this has to happen, and it was like all these so unlikely events that just seemed so far from possible. And then
Mhm.
one by one, everything was falling into place. And then every vote that every person that went into the DR, it was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And it just kept happening and kept happening. And then it led to this moment that everyone was cheering. And like,
Mhm.
look, I don't want, we don't have to relitigate the whole Riley and Catherine situation, but just everyone, it felt like in the fan base was on the same page, which is so rare for Big
Oh
Brother.
yeah.
And it was a crazy, crazy episode that I think just everyone was so hyped about. So
Yeah.
I couldn't not put it on there.
That's a good one. I didn't actually add anything from BB 27. So we really have six unique options here.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So what stands out to you as like your top choice right now?
oh, well, I have one left.
Oh yes, of
Yeah,
course. Oh
so
my
no,
gosh.
we're all good. But so my last one was Jake getting bitten by the snake in
Ah.
Fiji, baby 40, or sorry, Survivor, Survivor
BB
49.
49. Oh
No,
my God, what year is
Survivor
it?
49. I feel like that moment was just crazy to see that happen after 49 seasons. Never seen that before in Survivor, getting bitten by a venomous snake. So very sad moment for Jake, but also exciting TV just to see that actually happen, him be safe. Everything was good. But like it was a crazy episode of just us really seeing behind the scenes of Survivor and seeing where he had to go for the hospital room and
Yeah.
like all of that was just something we'd never seen before. And so I wanted to add that in my moments as well.
Yeah, it was one of those moments and parts of the episode, at least, that almost didn't feel like Survivor. I
Yeah.
felt like ER or
Yeah.
some medical show, and it was, yeah, it's a very unique Survivor moment
Mhm.
that I definitely, yeah, I can see why you put it on there for sure.
Yes. So now let's deliberate our options on what you think stands out from those six.
I think to me, at least from my list, I feel like Riley being evicted is probably the one that stands out just
Mhm.
because I just remember exactly how I felt in that moment. And I remember just how everyone in the fan base felt in that moment. And it's something that I want to go back and watch that moment multiple times. Like, it just, there are times when I just think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't, I don't feel that way about the other two that I put on my list, I think. So
Mhm.
that's the one that stands out to me.
Yeah. I mean, I like all my options as well, but I do think the Riley eviction just really stood out and just remembering exactly how you were feeling. And I felt that too. I was like, just joy of like, oh my gosh, like this is happening, like this is crazy.
Hmm.
And so I think that deserves our Chatty Award
All
for
right.
reality TV moment of the year.
All right.
Yay, we got our
Yay.
first chatty. Now, our next chatty is the reality TV couple of the year. So, you want to start us off?
Okay. I think I'm
We're
starting
gonna,
out with, I think the one that, you look, I like all three of mine, but I have to start with Nicola.
yeah. Okay, well, they were my top as well,
Yeah.
my first option there. So, I feel like
Yeah.
just the journey of how
Right.
they actually got to be together was crazy, and that they didn't even realize all the love that they were experiencing or that they had from the outside of all of America cheering for them. And it really wasn't until the end that they actually got together in Love Island, but they're still together to this day. And so it's really great to see them still thriving. And it's just, they're still a strong couple, which is great to see.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's the story of it.
Mhm.
It's the fact that these two, the fans saw something before they did, seemingly,
Yes.
and then everyone pulling for them to get together. And even like I remember when Hannah was eliminated, and someone mentioned to her that, oh, what do you think about Nicolandria? And I don't even remember at that point if the episodes had started airing where they had gotten together. Actually, I think
Yeah.
maybe they were just asking her like, the fans are wanting them together. What do you think? And she's like, "Oh, what are y'all saying? I didn't see that." So it seemed
Mhm.
like even in the villa, people weren't necessarily seeing it like the fans were. And
Mhm.
so when it happened, it was just like, is this real? Is this just producers
Yeah.
like doing fan fiction? And then no, I think a lot of people in the beginning were excited but kind of skeptical, and then now, I mean, 6 months later, it's still going strong. So it is a crazy story.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy that we both had them on our list. I feel
Yes.
like overall this year, I don't know how many successful couples we really had. So I feel like this one was kind of, we might
Yeah.
have more of the overlap here.
Yeah.
But my next couple was Taylor and Daniel
They're on my
from
list
Love
too.
is Blind. Yes, season 8. So they were also the only successful couple from that
Yeah.
season, also from Love
From
is
Love is
Blind
Blind.
this
This,
year.
yeah.
So I feel like they had to get an honor or mention here, even if they don't win it. But I feel like as a whole, like that season, just you knew they were going to be together. Like they just seemed from the start that they were super strong and they had similar family values and all this stuff. And they're obviously still married to this day as well. So I'm happy for them and excited to see what's to come for them.
Yeah, but they did also have an interesting story because
Yeah,
if you remember right after the pods, there was that moment, it
true.
was the cliffhanger of that first batch of episodes where Taylor was thinking, did you follow me on Instagram before this? Like, did there was that moment where we were like, oh, is this going to be a scandal? And then turns out when the next batch started, that she
It
was
was
scrolling
nothing.
through that phone for like 2 minutes straight. It felt like, for no reason,
Yeah.
because there was nothing there. So that ended up, that basically, from what I remember at least, was the last piece of real big drama that the two of them had, and then it was pretty smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they certainly deserve to be on the list, and I think they seem like a very good couple that came out of this year.
Agreed. So who was your next couple?
My last one was Izzy and Paige from The Amazing Race.
Oh,
I really, really love Izzy and Paige. It's not like it's a couple that met this year, but it
yeah.
was a couple that we saw for the first time on reality TV
Yeah, that
together this
counts.
year. So I
Yeah.
figured that counted.
Yeah.
And they got married this year very recently within the
Yeah.
last few weeks. And so I think that they were just such a fun couple. And we had heard so much about Paige. We'd seen a bit of Paige just on Izzy's social media and online, but we really got to know Paige this year. And she's so lovable, just like Izzy is. And just seeing the two of them together just was such a joy. And basically, that entire season. So I'm glad that they lasted as long as they did. We got to see as much of them as we did. And I just think they're such a likable couple.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I hadn't thought about adding them in, but I did also really enjoy seeing them together in Amazing Race this season. It was great to see their relationship, and now we know more about Paige, which is great
Yeah.
because we didn't know her before. But I mean, we knew her from Izzy, but not like in the
But not,
reality.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that was fun. So that's a good option there. And then my last one was for Iris and TJ.
Okay, yeah, I
So
thought about them too.
also Love Island season 7, but their journey was an interesting one too because they were together and then they were not together on the season. Iris ended up with Pepe, but then Pepe cheated on Iris and then she went back to TJ. So now in real life they are together. And it's great to see them thriving. It feels like they were always meant to be like now I kind of forget Pepe was there.
I
Like
know,
like I'm
right?
like, oh, it's
Right.
just Iris and TJ.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see them together still and felt like they were a strong couple from this year.
Yeah, they were certainly the other one. Like, if I
Yeah.
were to have four couples on this
Yeah.
list, they would have absolutely, without question, been the fourth. I guess I just don't have as strong feelings about them as a
That's fair.
couple as I did with the other three that were on my
I mean, I
list.
almost
So
struggled finding a third. So like they were
yeah,
like my like third but like lower
yeah,
down.
exactly. And so I kind of just figured, oh, let me go in like a different direction
Yeah.
for my third, but I like them as a couple for sure and love Iris
Mhm.
especially. And yeah, they definitely had a very interesting journey getting to where they are today.
Yes. Well, I feel like we probably have agreed on this
I think we
already
do. Yeah.
that it's going to be Nicolandria as our
Yay.
couple of the year. So, yay for them. Not
Yes.
surprising.
No, that was probably the easiest
Yeah,
category we had.
for sure. And we had the most overlaps there too.
Yeah.
Now, let's go into our reality TV scandal of the year. So, switch up from the happy couple news. Now, let's go into maybe some breakup news. So, what do you have first on your list?
I have from BB27 Rachel Riley's Hamster Wheel of Doom.
Okay.
And that I mean, that was a scandal for sure. That
Yeah.
was a moment that, similarly to what I said about the BB fan base being collectively so happy when Riley was evicted, we were just as collectively angry with Rachel the way that Rachel was eliminated, just because it
Mhm.
was, for those who don't remember, it was via a challenge, not via a vote. She had not gotten a single vote or been nominated that entire season.
Mhm.
And then all to just be taken away first time as soon as the jury starts. She'd said all season she did not want to be on that jury, especially not the first on that
I
jury,
know.
and then it had to happen that way. It was just, I mean, such a horrible way to go out, and it really got a lot of people talking about just Big Brother as a whole and how now it's so competition heavy and there's so much reliance on that part of the show versus the social game and the strategy of the game. And so it just felt like one of those moments that became bigger than just that moment, and that people really started to talk about the problems of the show as a whole. And then, of course, the season picked right back up and maintained interesting drama throughout the end game of that season. But it certainly, for that week in particular, it just felt like that was all anyone cared about.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I feel like it was just all the rage, and everyone was talking about it on Chat BCC. We were seeing Brendan's message. Like, I was literally getting like teary eyed reading that message of seeing
Yeah.
how like much of the fan base also has been to support everyone there and or support Rachel, obviously, and that was like not fair. And the way she got sent home, not even voted out, and so it was a crazy moment for sure, and definitely a big scandal of
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah. What's your first?
So I did the Craig and Paige breakup. So
Yeah.
that was crazy news. Just came very beginning, well, very end of 2024, but we got to see it in 2025 of seeing the kind of unfold throughout Summer House. And I didn't watch Southern
Southern Charm,
Charm, so I
yeah.
didn't see that side of it, but I wanted to see Paige's side of it on Summer House.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not missing
um,
anything except
and
lies.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we really heard more about Craig and his lies. But I felt for Paige and just that I was happy for her also for realizing that's not what she deserved and what she wanted in life in general. And so now she's better off. But it was a crazy start to the year of hearing all of that, and people didn't believe it at first because everyone was like so on board for this relationship, not knowing everything obviously that went into it, and then knowing more, everyone was like, okay, good. Paige is out and she's free.
Yeah.
But so that was my first option there.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say, even though you could say, oh, this happened in 2024, technically, I would argue that the scandal started in 2025 because in
Yeah.
2024, it seemed mutual. It
Yeah.
seemed like, everyone was sad about their breakup. I remember Andy Cohen talking about it on CNN's New Year's Eve special about their breakup. But at that time, it felt like it was fine and there was no scandal about it.
Yeah.
But now, as soon as 2025 started and things started to come out, they
Mhm.
both shows picked up cameras
Mhm.
again and started talking about the breakup. And then there was all these lies that came out about whether he bought a ring and whether
Yeah.
he, all this stuff. And so it really did feel like both shows,
Yeah.
it became this war between Southern Charm cast and Summer House cast of Team Craig or Team Page. And it's still going on this
Mhm.
season of Southern Charm. It's still becoming an issue that Vanita took Paige's side over Craig, and
Yeah.
it's still very much relevant, very much talked about, and it's been at this point a full year.
Yeah.
So
So
definitely a big scandal.
for sure. So what do you have next?
I have and I'm sure this is on your list too, the Demi and Jesse and Marciano of it all.
Oh, I actually didn't add those
Oh,
in, so
really?
it's good you brought it up.
Wow.
I was
Okay.
thinking more on the breakup side of things, so
Ah,
we'll have
okay.
more
Okay, good,
breakups.
because I don't think now, yeah, none of mine were
Oh, okay,
breakups.
good. So we have a
So we have
mix.
the mix, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was a very big scandal, of course, from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked it to death in our recap of that show. So,
Go back and listen.
yeah, so not to relitigate all of it again, but it certainly was a big, big scandal on that show that, of course, also spilled over into Vanderpump Villa and all these podcasts and everything. And it's certainly still ongoing and has impacted the show in a way that might see Demi leaving the show and may see, all this stuff that is still certainly circulating and ongoing. So I think that, yeah, I don't know what more to say about it other than it was definitely a big scandal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That was a big, big scandal from the year. I feel like just all the drama and everything that went into it. We don't have to rehash everything, obviously, because we did talk about that in our other episode. But just it's crazy that that was all happening in the Mormon Wives franchise of it all.
It's crazy. These Mormons
Yeah.
are certainly there's no lack of scandal in that group.
No. And we still see drama happening to this day on Instagram stories and everything with that. Well, my next one is the Janae and Kenny breakup.
Oh my God, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
So that happened during the airing of Beyond the Villa. And everyone was wondering what was going to happen, if they were going to showcase any of that. They didn't end up picking the cameras back up. They just showed a blurb of it at the end of how they had broken up. But we were seeing it real time in social media, of seeing Janae's stories, Kenny's stories, and then Leah also supporting, and Serena, all the girls supporting Janae there and just hating on Kenny. And we got just all of that scandal of it, and just seeing how also from the show's perspective, you could see that Kenny just really wasn't fully invested in
Yeah.
it, which made it even worse probably for Janae if she had watched that back and seeing that. But obviously she didn't see it in that moment. Like they just was things that she could overlook because she loved him in that time. And so that was just crazy to see how that all unfolded. But I'm great. It's really glad to see all the support that Janae had in that moment. And I unfollowed Kenny right away. I was like, nope, no more support.
As you should.
So yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, wow, that slipped my mind as a scandal.
Okay.
But I'm really glad that you put it in there because it was certainly a big scandal this year. And yeah, I think it was one of those shows that because it happened while it was airing, you were able to go back and watch. And it's similar to the Craig and Page
Yeah.
situation because Summer House was still airing at that time. And
Hmm.
so we were able to watch it with a new lens. And I think the same thing could be said about Love Island Beyond the Villa that we were watching it and seeing these moments. Even in the trailer, there was that moment about that Kenny and Janae's dinner where he said he didn't want to move in with her. And at the time, Janae was defending him, being like, "Oh, that's editing or whatever," and certainly still could have been. I believe the quote was, "I need space from you."
Yeah.
Was his line,
That's not a
and
good
she was
sign.
saying right, and she was saying, "Oh, the for you part of that or from you part of that was editing," and he didn't say it. But now it's like, "Oh, did he?" I mean,
Yeah.
it certainly would have made sense from what we saw, or even if he didn't say it, it certainly looks like that may be what he meant.
Yeah.
So I think it was very interesting to watch that and be like, there were those signs there that from the very beginning that we didn't really pick up on until, of course, we knew later what had happened, and then you watch it back, and it was very interesting to see it from a different lens.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah, I am sad that we never got any type of like reunion of that show after the
Mhm.
fact, or they didn't pick up the cameras again. And I get it, of course, it would have been very, very fresh, and it would have been similar to the Ariana Tom reunion that was just pure chaos
Yeah.
and toxic and none of them, I'm sure, wanted to subject themselves to that. They are too big names, stars, to be willing to put up with that. They don't need the money for sure. And so I was not surprised that it didn't happen, but it certainly would have been very interesting to see.
Oh yeah, I know. We got some of that, I guess, from the Instagram stories and that
Yeah.
side of it. We didn't get like a full them
Didn't get them in the same
talking.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we won't because season 2, as we know now, is going to be with the season 7 cast, not the season 6 cast again. So
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Better for them to be separated and not have to interact again.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
All
Do you
right.
have one
So,
more? Or is
do
it-
I have one more? Yes, I do. Wow. Okay. It was also Love Island, but this
Okay.
was Love Island 7, Sierra being removed from the villa.
That was a big one. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was a deserved removal
Yeah.
from the villa.
Mhm.
It feels very interesting how she has handled things since then,
Mhm.
because I think right after the fact, it felt like she was willing to sit and listen, and she came up with posted this whole video with the
Wearing a
shirt
sweatshirt.
wearing empathy.
Empathy.
But even with that, I watched that and I thought that this feels genuine to me. Like
Yeah.
I actually did believe it. Maybe I'm a sucker for that, but I did believe that she was handling it pretty well.
Mhm.
But then since then she's posted things with captions that have said, "Oh, I survived the villain edit" and all this stuff. I'm like, "You when did you
No.
get a villain edit?" You got the best edit
I
possible
know.
for so long on that show. So I don't see where she got a villain edit by any means.
Mhm.
Because even after that, she was just removed. It wasn't like she was
Yeah.
ever edited afterwards because
No.
she was just removed.
Yeah, I really haven't paid that much attention to her since she got evicted, basically. I don't know how else. I mean, she got sent home,
Removed, yeah.
removed, yeah, from the villa there. But yeah, I don't really like. At first, I also was trying to see the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, maybe she just didn't realize it. But then the more she was posting and just trying to continue on without really mentioning it again or just like continuing just to be herself, and it just didn't sit right with me really, and just I felt like this apology was not totally sincere. It was just like she just wanted to say it because she had to say it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so not the biggest Sierra fan, but I did like her from the season. I just wish it wasn't, we didn't know all the information we
Right.
had.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think she and Nick were poised to make finale for
Yeah.
sure. And then that all happened and no longer. And
Mhm.
it felt like she was very surprised of all of this happening and is trying to savor whatever audience fandom she can get.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels, it makes everything feel disingenuous.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my last option here for scandal of the year was the Matt and Rachel breakup. So Matt, who was
Matt and
Bachelor,
Rachel. Oh, Matt and Rachel.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know
Who are
it
Matt
feels
and
like it was
Rachel?
a while ago, but it was actually the beginning of 2025.
Whoa.
Yeah, it
Really?
only happened less than a year
Oh my
ago.
God.
I know
That feels like forever ago. Wow.
they were on a trip to Japan, and seemingly they were still together on that trip, and then just all of a sudden everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like what's happening?" Like the internet broke, and like everyone was trying to like figure this out. And Rachel was on a plane home while this news broke because Matt just posted it on social
Yeah.
media and didn't talk to Rachel about
Yeah.
that. That was a big scandal. I was very invested in following, and
Yeah, I watched that whole Call Her Daddy where she
yeah,
was talking about it. I remember, wow, but I didn't think that was this year. Jeez.
I know. So that was a big one. I felt for Rachel in that, but also happy that she's now out of that relationship. It
Yeah.
obviously didn't seem the most healthy there after listening also to the podcast and hearing what was going on. And overall, their fight was about dinner. The food that they ate just wasn't good. Like, it was so stupid. Just like, okay, well, obviously not meant to be together forever if that's what's happening in your relationship.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that they did that. That they broke up and that it didn't last longer than it should have,
Yeah.
or than it had to. So yeah, they were together for a while though. From the Instagram point of view, reels or like TikToks, like all their videos looked like they were in a happy relationship, and we just didn't really see that behind the scenes. So then it all came and hit us like a truck, and like, oh gosh, this is not good.
Yeah, yeah, wow. That was a very interesting Call Her Daddy episode. I do remember watching that whole thing and hearing her story. And yeah, I mean, it certainly made me look at Matt in a bit of a different light than I had, and I'm glad you put that on there.
Yeah, well, we have really good scandals to choose from here. I don't know how we're gonna choose.
Yeah.
Because if we want to go the breakup route or I feel like the one that stands out to me the most is from your list is the Rachel,
Okay.
from Big Brother, but also the Jenny and the Kenny and Janae,
Mhm. Okay, so from your list, or remind me, go through them real quick.
Craig and Paige,
Craig and Paige. Yeah,
Janae and
okay.
Kenny, Matt and Rachel.
Okay. I think actually the two that stand out to me are the Demi, Jesse, and
Oh,
Marciano,
okay,
and maybe Craig and Paige.
okay,
Those are the two that I feel like just I've spent the most time this
maybe
year
that,
thinking
yeah,
about.
and the most that's been covered on
Yeah,
MTV
yeah.
wise.
The Rachel thing is so unique.
That's
Like, I
true.
do think that it was certainly a big scandal, but I feel like it was actually maybe one of those things that it was so huge in that week
And then it
and
didn't
then
continue.
didn't really continue
Yeah.
on because the season got good again.
Okay, that's true. Okay, so between Paige and Craig breakup and then the Marciano drama.
Hmm.
Okay, which one shall we choose?
Hmm. Okay, I'm actually leaning right now in my mind towards Craig and Page
Okay,
because it affected two shows
yeah.
that both shows have had their own unique storylines and perspectives on it, and I think
Mhm.
that is such an interesting factor of
Yeah.
that breakup that it's affected two shows on Bravo. And it feels like it has, like, those two casts were so close because they did Winter House together. They had all this intermingling with the Craig and Page of it all, and they were making cameos on each other's shows. And then now it's become like this world war, like the civil
Yeah.
war, I guess you'd say, like between like the North and the South, the Summer House and Southern Charm. And I just think it has continued on. It's been a year now, and it's still a very big part of both shows.
Mhm.
So right now, that's where I'm leaning.
I agree. I think that's a really good point that is just still even talked about to
Hmm.
this day, and that is such a big drama if it's still conversation in the show and a big storyline. So I think that's gonna be our scandal of the year is
All right.
the Craig and Paige breakup.
Congratulations, Craig and Paige.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's all worth it now. All the heartache that they went through is all worth it now because they won a chatty.
Exactly. So if you're out there listening, congrats.
Yes.
And then now let's go through our reality TV newbie of the year. So I can
Yes.
start off with this
Yeah, go
one.
for it.
My first option here was Ashley Hollis from Big Brother 27. She was our
Yes.
winner. And I thought she did a great job throughout the season with her social game. And now I've still been following her on social media. She goes live on TikTok. And I just feel like overall she's gotten a really big fan base and excited to see her continue.
Yeah, love Ashley. I think she was a great character, a great winner, a great story on that show from
Yeah,
Showergate at the start
exactly.
and to where she is now. She ended up winning the season and I think I certainly would not be surprised if we see her again on reality TV in the future. To me that was how I kind of made this list was who I see having this being the start of their reality TV career
Okay.
because it's we coming up we have reality TV star of the year
Mhm.
and I it was like how do I differentiate these two and to me this was not so much who I loved watching the most or who I just was rooting for the most it was who I see this being just the beginning of their career and I certainly do see that with Ashley she was not on my list
Oh,
but I do see that with Ashley for
yeah.
sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So then who's you have on your list?
Before we go
Oh,
on, this
yeah.
was something that I meant to bring up earlier, not to bring the mood down at all, but because we're talking about Ashley,
Yeah.
I do want to bring up the news that we got this morning as we're recording this on Friday about Mickey Lee from BB27 that she has passed away sadly, and I just want to send well wishes to her family. And it was shocking news. She was 35 years old, and
So
had so
sad.
much life ahead of her. So very, very sad and just sending so much love to her family.
I know it was sad to see that news come out this morning, and I feel like just obviously we just saw her on our screen. She had so much more to give us, and we just don't get that now because she unfortunately has passed. And I'm sad for her and or her family, and just how much they have to go through now and grieving. And so we send all our love to them
Yeah.
and everyone who also supported her throughout Big Brother. It's also a time where you're probably grieving in some regards. So send our love to you as well.
Back to weird
Yeah.
transition, but,
We needed
but
to
back to
highlight
our
that though,
list.
because it is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
fresh on our minds as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, first on my list for newbie of the year is RIZGOD Riz God Baby. I from Survivor 49. I just think that Rizzo was such a unique character and played in such a unique way that I think that it is going to affect Survivor moving forward and the way that
Mhm.
people play their idols and from 51 and beyond because 50 was filmed before this but of course Rizzo was on 50 so we
Yeah.
know that this is only the beginning of his story
Mhm.
and I think that for me it was between Rizzo and Savannah to put
Well,
on my
I
list
actually
here.
have
Oh,
Savannah.
okay,
I
we can
was
talk about these together.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I have Savannah as well because I also really appreciate her game and that absolutely she won Survivor as well this season. But her partnership with Riz God, obviously, I think that their duo was really strong throughout the season, and it was fun to see them both thrive and just like continue on and how they're obviously going to be in 50 together, and that's going to be exciting to watch them. And so I thought Savannah also was obviously just a powerhouse in her challenges, and she tied the record of having 4 immunity wins as a female. So that was just a big accomplishment for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they're both great characters that came out of
Yeah.
this season. And of course, both of them we will be seeing on 50 again.
Yeah.
So, but I even beyond 50, I mean, who knows how they're going to do and what's going to happen there. But I see both of them as being people that, whether they play on Survivor again or not, like I could see both of them getting calls for other shows, be it The
Yeah.
Challenge or, maybe one day Traders. I just feel like they are such unique characters that people compared Savannah to Parvati, Rizzo maybe to like Tony in a lot of ways, but I do think that they are their own characters and played such people can say what they want about 49, but I do think that them, and I will put Sophie B in there as well, I think are characters that we will not soon forget.
Yeah. Oh, definitely agree on that. So then I also had Alandria on my list just because obviously we love seeing her in Love Island, and I feel like she's got a lot more to show us, and she's already been modeling a ton. I've been seeing all of like her shoots that she does on social media, and she just looks like she's living her best life, and I'm excited to see what's to come for her.
Yes, definitely. I love Alandria. I think that she was such a rootable character
Yeah.
on Love Island. And of course, seeing we talked about her story,
Yeah.
of course, with Nick, but I think that yeah, like we thought she was going home halfway
Yeah.
through the season, and everyone was in uproar about it because it was like, oh, like what's the point of watching? And I
Yeah.
think that that's such a testament to her as a character and person on the show that when there's a threat of her potentially leaving, that everybody gets in such uproar. So
Yeah.
I think that Alandria certainly is a great candidate for this.
Yes. And you have one last person?
I have
Oh,
two because
two. Oh.
Alandria was not on my
Oh, nice.
list.
Okay.
So I have next, going back to BB27, Morgan Pope.
Oh, yeah. I considered her, but I went with Ashley instead. So
Hmm.
that's a good option then.
Yeah, I thought I was going back and forth
Yeah.
between Morgan and Ashley, but I ended up going with Morgan because I felt like Morgan, whereas Ashley was so rootable, I felt like Morgan was such a an interesting, like brought such entertainment to the
Yeah.
show in a way that from start to finish. And especially I think in the back half,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, everything with Morgan, but I think that she was such it was so Vanessa Russo coded for anyone who watched BB17 exactly 10 years ago that the two of them had such parallel paths in the game. And Morgan was just such a character that, such a gamer, such an interesting, you kind of never knew what way she was going. And she always worked so hard, spent late nights, and got her way almost
Yeah.
every single time. And so it just, I think that Morgan is somebody who I really hope we see in the future, whether that's on Big Brother or elsewhere. I think that she is made for reality TV, and I really hope that this is not the last we see of her.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's also has a lot more we can see from her in the future, maybe in the challenge or other shows. I mean, she wasn't the biggest competitor in the challenges on the Big Brother this season, but she
She
obviously,
won a
well,
ton.
she won a lot, but I feel like in general, like there were just options. Like there could be other women that they choose instead of her, like Savannah or something, like from another
Yeah.
show.
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
don't mean it from Big Brother. I mean from Big Brother, yes, she was great, but from other like challenge, they pick from other things, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The challenge, she's not. I think she would be great on the challenge.
yeah,
I don't see. I feel like I agree with you that I don't think she's going to be their first choice from this season,
yeah,
but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually she ended up on there.
yeah. No, I mean, I think she has more to come though, and I think that she obviously brought a lot of entertainment and just excitement throughout the season for us to watch.
Yes, she
So
did. We are
that
very
was
thankful.
yes, that was good. A good option there. I don't have any more because we already went through mine. So who's
Oh,
your?
we did.
Yeah,
Did we?
yeah, because Ashley, Alandria, and Savannah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Savannah. Okay. I forgot that we talked
yeah,
about both of them together.
yeah.
So my last one is Amaya Papaya.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
Yeah.
her.
Amaya was just so much fun.
Yeah,
Such a light, a sun ray of sunshine
yeah.
in that villa. And I just loved watching her. And it
Mhm.
was really upsetting a lot of times the way she was treated in there. And I think that she just won America's hearts. And we're gonna see her on Beyond the Villa season
Yeah.
2, of course, but I wonder if we will see her anywhere after that. I feel
Mhm.
like she would be a great choice for traders. I would not be
Mhm.
surprised at all if we saw her on there. I don't see her on the challenge. I think that
No.
she's too Love Island. The main Love Island cast these days are too big for the challenge.
Yeah.
For the I feel like they would laugh at the check that the offer that they would get to go on that show. So I think that I don't know where we'll see her besides Traders, but I hope that we do see her on there or somewhere after Beyond the Villa because I think she is again just too entertaining to pass up.
Yeah, oh, I love Amaya. I forgot about adding her on my list, but I'm glad you have her on yours. But yeah, I feel like just how everyone was rallying behind her and seeing how she wasn't treated the best, and then obviously then she found someone, but not they're not together, so she still not wasn't treated the best. But in general, she did win the show, and that was great to see all the support for her and how she's gonna just continue to thrive, I'm sure, and just be her true self, and that's what's amazing to see.
Yes. All right, so we have all our options. Where are you
Yes.
leaning?
Oh, I feel like right now I'm leaning towards Amaya, just because I know she
Yeah.
was just such a big moment from Love Island this
Mm-hmm.
season.
Yeah. This is
I
hard. This is
know
a really
we have
hard
unique
one.
options here.
Yeah, I think I'm.
Because we have some overlap. We have like Ashley and Morgan, who are both BB, and Savannah
You
and
know what's funny?
Rizzo.
We have three from the same shows,
Oh,
but
there are different
they're
people.
yeah, they're all different people, but we each have two from each show.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Wow.
Wow. Um.
We are
Hmm.
thinking alike, but not the exact
I
like.
know we were looking at the same shows,
Yeah.
but different people. That's so interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think Amaya is maybe where I'm leaning as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Amaya.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. Amaya Papaya, you
Amaya
are
Papaya.
our winner of Reality TV Newbie of the Year. Congrats on your chatty.
You never said you were perfect, but you're perfect to us.
Exactly. Well, that was a good one.
All
Now,
right.
let's go through our reality TV hosts of the year. So, who do you have? I'm sure we're going to have some overlaps here because there weren't a ton of
There's
hosts.
not a ton of hosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one host for each show
Yeah.
usually, except for Love is Blind, I guess.
Yeah.
But I first have here Alan Cumming from Traders.
Okay.
I think Alan is just so incredible.
Yeah.
And I actually, if we had the international versions of Traders in contention, it just would have been the three from Traders UK, Canada, and US would have been my whole list. I just think they're all incredible, but we don't. We have not covered Canada and UK on this show, so they were not in contention. But I think Alan is fantastic, and he is just such a character. Gets in character. It's perfect for the feel of the show that they're going for, and I just think he is fantastic.
Oh yeah, he's a good one. I actually forgot to add him on
Oh
my
no! Oh
list.
my
I know,
gosh!
but I have Jeff Probst as
Yeah,
my first.
classic.
Obviously, Survivor is one of our favorite shows as well, and I just feel like he just always great job doing hosting and just all of that. I'm excited to see 50 with him also as a host. Obviously, he's not going anywhere, but like in general, just he's continuing to be the best
Hmm.
host. I feel like.
Yeah, he's actually not on my list.
Oh,
I think that Jeff is. I mean, of course, he's great in a lot of ways, but I do think that a lot of people feel like he has gotten too involved in the show and is
yeah,
making mistakes on the direction of the show that are hurting it. And so I felt like there was just too much negative associated with him and feelings right now that I couldn't put him on the list. But I think, of course, he is so ingrained in the DNA of Survivor that it's impossible to envision the show without him.
yeah,
Although, I mean, of course, we've seen it with Australian Survivor. The JLP was incredible, and let's not go there. But I think US Survivor is so it's like Julie Chen on Big Brother. It's Phil on Amazing Race. It's hard to think of the shows without them.
yeah.
But yeah, he was not on my list, but of course, I mean, in a lot of ways, he's incredible.
Yes, for sure. So who do you have next?
Next, I have, if I could find it again, Joe Manganiello from Dondi. I think
Okay.
Joe was a great host for Dondi, and this is our last chance to include him, so I
Yeah.
felt the need to do that.
Yeah.
And, I don't think he's going to win it for us, but I think that you could tell that he cared so
Mhm.
much about the show and was so excited to do it.
Yeah.
And I think he was the perfect pick for it because he was a fan of Survivor and a lot of these similar shows. And so I think that he just really, you could tell he was having the best time and loved doing it. And I think that he felt like a natural right away, which is rare.
Yeah, no, he was a really great host. I agree with that. And be sad to not see him anymore as a host as we don't have Don D anymore. But I think that he was the perfect guy for that job. And so it made it more entertaining. He was funny and knew what to say and all of that. So
Yeah.
it was great to see him as the host. Okay, next up, I have Ariana Maddox from Love Island. Of course, we love Ariana, and she does a great job. I feel like with connecting with the different casts of Love Island and being there to support them and overall, I feel like we've now seen her for 2 seasons, but I feel like she just done a great job as a host.
Yeah, she was my third.
Okay.
So yeah, I love Ariana, of course, and I think that she, like you said, I think she is such a fan of Love Island, similar to what I
Yeah.
said about Joe. That she's you could tell she loves it and she is invested in these people and their stories. And I think that she's so much more involved. It feels like with Love Island than like Sarah Hyland was when she was hosting. It felt like Sarah would just go weeks without being there. Like, where's she going? But especially on Love Island Games, it felt like
Oh
Ariana
yeah.
was there every episode.
Yeah.
And I love watching her talk about it on After Sun every week and getting some behind the scenes of what was going on. And she looks incredible. I mean, we'll get to that in that category, but yeah, I think that she does an incredible job.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that was you had all
That's
three.
all three for
Okay,
me.
I added also Mark Wahlberg from Temptation Island.
Oh,
So we had the first season of Temptation Island on Netflix, and he was our
yeah.
host. And I felt like he was a really great host with kind of having therapy sessions with the cast and what's going on in their relationship or the new relationship or what's going on just generally like how they were feeling towards what they were going through. And obviously, it was a lot that they had to experience throughout that season. And so I feel like he just did a really good job of really being able to connect and listen and just answer like maybe give some advice but also be able to be a lending ear to them and needed if they needed to vent or whatever get that out. And I feel like he just was a really great host for that show.
Great choice. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you did that because I didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
So I love Mark Wahlberg on that
Mhm.
show. I think that he with the fire pit, whatever what they call it, the
I
fire pit
forget.
ceremony, something like that.
Yeah.
I think he does such an incredible job as being an ear to them because
Yeah.
they're watching these clips that are so incredibly hard. And I think he does a great job of feeling like he's supportive of them while also getting them to be emotional and
Mhm.
give their true feelings about what they're watching. And it makes the show feel a little bit deeper than I think a lot of similar shows or what this show could feel like
Mhm.
with a different host. I think, or with different editing. Like, I think that Temptation Island could be so trashy. But I think that him and the way that he is able to navigate those ceremonies elevates the show and makes it feel a little bit deeper than I think a lot of people expect it to feel.
Yeah, for sure. So now that are all of our options
Oh, this is harder
for
than I thought it would
I
be.
know our
Okay.
host of the
Oh my
year. We have
god.
so many good
Okay. I
choices.
think the three that I'm really debating between
Okay.
are Mark, Alan, and Ariana.
Yeah,
I think
I
those are the
agree.
three that stand out to me.
Hmm.
But I'm having a very hard time because
I
I
know.
think they're so different. Like I think that like they have such different reasons why I think I would pick them. I
Right
ooh,
now, I think I'm leaning towards Alan
I think I am
because
too.
he's just so theatrical and just adds so much to the show. Like I
Mhm.
feel like I couldn't imagine Traders without him there.
Mhm.
And that's like, I mean, obviously Ariana and Mark are great too, but like the cast of those shows probably could do without. And I feel like with Traders, you can't do
Yeah.
without Alan.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think I have to go with Alan too.
Okay. Well, Alan, congrats. You had won our chatty for reality
You
TV
know,
host of
he's
the
won
year.
some Emmys, but I think this is really what he's going to appreciate the most.
I agree. Well, next up, we have another fun category our fashionable reality TV, or the most fashionable reality TV star of the year. So I'll start off with Rachel Riley. I added
Oh.
her as like kind of like an interesting one. I know I felt like she just
Kate Chastain would disagree,
yeah.
I think.
I just thought that because of like the different outfits and choices she was trying to impress upon us in reality TV and just
Hmm.
this year and Big Brother, I feel like she thought she was killing it always and sometimes they were good, sometimes they weren't, but I thought that fashionable could be relative, it's very
Yeah.
subjective
Uh-huh.
and so I wanted to give her an option or an honorable mention there and maybe she won't win, but in general have her on my list.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it gave us some fun segments with Jimmy
Yeah.
and Rachel
Yeah,
where he was judging her fashions. Those were
exactly.
very fun. So, yeah. It's unique.
Yeah.
It is unique for sure. And I think sometimes, I think her outfit when she walked in, came down those stairs, perfection.
Yeah.
I think exactly what you expect and want from Rachel
Mhm.
Riley making her big entrance to the season. So I think there were certainly moments where I think, yes, she looked fantastic
Yeah.
and deserves to be here. My first is Chelsea Lascani from Selling Sunset. I
Okay.
think that she always kills it with the
Yeah.
fashion and looks incredible. That show is all about the fashion. Everybody is just leveling up and up and up every year. And I mean, has gotten to a point sometimes where it's like, how is this at all even supposed to be work related?
I know.
But I think that Chelsea is the best of the best on there to me.
I almost added Chelsea, but my other two were also from Selling Sunset, so I couldn't have
Oh,
a
okay.
third Selling Sunset.
Okay,
But
well, while we're
I
talking about
have
Selling Sunset, who are your other two? Yeah.
Chriselle and Brie.
Okay.
So they're also, I just feel like always all the ladies in that show, but especially for me, I feel like Chriselle has had
Yeah.
really great outfits, and Brie, just the moment we got with her trying to change out her shoes and
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
oh, I need the red moment. Like, okay, fashion queen. But I feel like with that, just they're including Chelsea, just the three of them, like
Yeah.
always serving
For
outfits.
sure. I think those are the big three when it comes to
Yeah.
fashion. And Chriselle was almost on my list because also not only from Selling Sunset, but from Traders as well. I
Yeah.
think she did very, very well. But speaking of Traders, my next one is Gabby Wendy.
Okay. I was thinking about her, but then I have her another option, another thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Gabby, love Gabby, of course, but I think that she killed it on Traders with the fashion. There were
Yeah.
some very, very fun looks that she had on there. And that's when
Mhm.
Traders is so fun, is when the people really get into the fashions of it all and really play that up. And I think that Gabby did fantastic with that.
Yeah. Agreed. She's a good one.
And then my last one is yet again Ariana Madix.
Okay.
To me, just every time she walks out on Love
Mhm.
Island, it's like it's perfect. Especially
Mhm.
this season, to me, all hits, no misses. I think she ate it every time.
Yeah. Oh, for
No
sure.
left, no crumbs.
I feel like I forgot about Ariana for that list, but honestly, she's standing out to me the most
Me too.
because she's just always had incredible outfits, and I feel like she also had some that were like very custom made for her. I feel like they were talking about that on After Sun or just other clips I was seeing of her just going through the outfit choices, and
Hmm.
it was always incredible. So
Yeah.
Ariana, I think
I mean,
she's the
every time
winner.
she walked out, they thought it was a bombshell half
Yeah.
the time. Like the one to me that stands out most is when she had the dark hair,
Oh
and
yeah.
oh my god, that was a moment.
Yes.
And I think that she absolutely deserves the win here, no question in my mind.
Yes. Well, congrats, Ariana. You have won our
Yay!
chatty. So next up, I'm sure we might have some overlap, maybe not, but we're gonna go through our reality TV quotes
I'm excited for
of the
this one.
year. Me too. Okay, so you want to start us off?
I will start off with Mommy. Mamacita.
Yes, that was on my list as well. Such iconic moment.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say about that? Like, I
No,
mean, it was viral. It was everywhere. It was everywhere.
people who didn't even watch the
I
show.
can't hear the word
No,
again
yeah,
the same way. Like, yeah, I mean, it got like, I mean, like 10 million likes on TikTok or something insane like that when it
yeah.
posted. Like, I mean, yeah, it was everywhere. So that was the first thing that came to my mind when we had this
Yes, that
category.
moment with Nick and Huda, just amazing. I love,
Yeah.
I love it. And then he didn't even realize he was being funny. Like that's
They
even better.
both forgot about
Yeah,
it.
they forgot
I
about
think
it.
they forgot about it until the family visit, and
Yeah,
then they were like, both of their families were bringing it up to them, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
yeah. No, that was great. So that was also on my list. But I also had I Am Set,
oh, good
Catherine.
one, good
Yeah.
one.
So obviously, I feel like I also see that in a lot of memes now of just I Am Sat, like Catherine, just great saying. I love that moment.
I still use that.
Yeah.
I have it saved in my phone, and also from BB27, I believe you have a prompt.
Oh, that was a good one.
That one, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like that became a remix on TikTok that I have seen going around, or at least a few months ago I did,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think that was a very memorable quote from Keanu.
Yeah, that one's good. All right. Well, I also have from The Trader that I have Gabby. I feel like everything Gabby was saying was so funny, but
Incredible.
I have the moment that stood out for me the most was when she was first meeting Jeremy, and Jeremy asked, "How did it end with the Bachelorette season?" And then she said, "I'm a lesbian now."
I just watched that. I literally, like, maybe an hour ago watched that because I was watching the Traders promo and
Oh,
they had
wow.
that clip in there when
That's
they
so
were talking
funny.
about Gabby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that's very fresh in my mind.
Well, I thought that moment was just amazing, and I love Gabby for that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that was my quote.
And my last one is also from Traders,
Okay.
weirdly enough. It's Bob the Drag Queen calling Dylan Efron misguided.
Oh, okay. That was yeah,
I thought
that's
that
a good one.
was yeah, that was a good quote
Yeah,
from Bob the Drag Queen, who of course is a king of quotes, but that was the one that stood out the most to me.
yeah, that was good. Wow, we have some good options here,
I think there's
but I
one that
think we
stands out.
know it's
Yeah,
mommy,
Mamacita.
Mamacita. Yep. Congrats, Nick and Huda. You made our list for, you got the chatty for the TV quote of the year. Applause for you guys. Okay, well, now let's take a little bit of a turn and talk about the worst reality TV show of this year. So we might have some overlaps here,
We
but
might.
do you want to go first?
Yeah, my first one was Love Island Beyond the Villa.
I had that too.
Okay. Yeah, I think that it wasn't a bad show. It really wasn't. I think the worst crime that I think it commits is that it was just kind of forgettable
Yeah,
to me.
agreed.
I think there were moments that I really enjoyed where they were kind of it was almost a critique on this instant fame that they get, and you saw
Mhm.
how really unhappy a lot of them felt. Like there was this
Mhm.
moment between Kayla and Aaron specifically
Yeah,
where they were talking, and it just seemed like they were both kind of admitting to each other how they missed their old lives. And that to me was fascinating. That was the best part of the show, was moments like that that felt very real and
yeah.
something that doesn't really get talked about a lot,
Mhm.
especially for a show like this where they went into Love Island and it was a show that was not that big. And so I don't think any of them went into it expecting the level of fame that they got, and then they just came out and they were superstars. And
Yeah.
I think we all kind of felt like, oh, that must be really difficult. But they seem on social media so happy. And so to hear them talk about how, maybe they're not always very happy with that, I think was very interesting. But otherwise, other than that, I think it was a lot of drama that felt a little bit forced. And it's just like there wasn't a ton besides like the Kaler and Liv beef. There just wasn't a ton to sustain a show. And so, yeah.
I agree. I feel like we I wanted more from it as well, just wanting to see more, maybe not drama, but just like going through their day-to-day lives, and just didn't feel very organic because of
Yeah.
the fact that they were all in LA for it, and they don't all live in LA. They had to just live there for the show, and like it just didn't feel totally real in those moments. And so I feel like with that it just wasn't the best, but I'm excited to see season 2, and maybe they'll learn from it and do something different. But
It's
I
a
think,
bigger cast that they brought
yeah,
in for season two, so maybe they'll be able to have more to choose from in terms of storylines and
yeah,
things going on. But I think it would be better. This type of show is like almost like a girls trip, like a Real
hmm,
Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip type of thing, where it's like put them on vacation for a week together as a group and see what happens. And I think that would have been very interesting to see like Kayla and Aaron have to live together and Kayla and
yeah,
Liv, with their ongoing beef. Like I think that would have been maybe a little bit more exciting and given us more to work with than just trying to like see them in their lives in a place that they don't really live.
yeah, for sure. And we didn't even get to see them pick up cameras for Kenny and Janae's
Yeah, the most
breakup.
interesting thing
Yeah,
happened after cameras that left.
yeah.
So
So
yeah,
just kind of a
a
not the
little bit
most
disappointing.
memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that was also on my list, but I also included Amazing Race.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like from the season that just ended, it was kind of predictable of what was
Hmm.
going to happen. So I feel like week to week, it wasn't the most exciting to watch. Obviously, like having Jag and Jess like just dominating, and
Yeah.
I feel like with that, just wasn't the most entertaining for me.
Yeah, I think that the cast was great. I think the problem was the tasks that they had to do a lot of times didn't lend themselves to the order changing very often, and so we had Jag and Jass and Tucker and Eric
Yeah.
basically running the entire race and just changing off as soon as Tucker and Eric left. Jag and Jass just came right in their place and won every leg.
Mhm.
So I think yeah, it wasn't the order never shifted a ton,
Yeah.
and that makes for a bit of a predictable and boring season.
Mhm.
But there were moments, it didn't land on my list only because I love the cast so much.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was fun to watch, even though it wasn't the most exciting.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, well, what do you have next?
Next on my list is Love is Blind season 8.
Okay.
It was a very boring season of Love is Blind.
Mhm.
And there just wasn't a lot to work with the cast. There just wasn't a ton of drama. It felt like the reunion got a little bit more exciting, and postseason there's been some stuff going on. But because the season itself was so boring, I don't really care enough about them to even care what's going on afterwards. You know, like, it's
Yeah.
like I forgot who these people were at this point because I just wasn't that tuned in to the season.
I mean, I almost forgot Taylor and Daniel's names. Like
Yeah,
that's how much. I mean,
I did too.
I knew that they were still together, but I just forgot.
I wrote down Taylor and Derek first, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. And then I had to look up the guy's name. So yes, if that
Yeah,
tells you anything, yeah,
exactly. I know it just wasn't the most memorable.
yeah,
That's a good one. All right, this one might be shocking for you that I wrote this down, but I put The Valley season 2. I feel like I
okay,
just didn't get into it as much as season 1, and
yeah,
obviously the big storyline there was Brittany and Jax, and I just felt like it was a little bit overdone, and with that, and obviously like this all the dark drama, not drama, but just like all the things that are happening. Like I feel like we shouldn't necessarily see everything
yeah.
that was happening in that show, and I felt like from a viewer's perspective I was like, I don't really want to watch this is making me sad. Like I was like, I don't really want to see these lives falling apart
Hmm.
in the show that the way that it was happening.
I feel you. No, I
Yeah.
I agree. I think that it was too dark. It
Yeah.
was a season that was really, really hyped and excited. I think a lot of people were excited for it because season 1 was great,
Mhm.
and season 2, I think you saw so much happening in the film during filming that it was like, oh my god, this season's going to be like the best Bravo show of all time. And then I think it felt too dark.
Yeah.
It was too, yeah, it was with everything, like that fight that Brittany and Jax had in their house, like with their kid there,
Yeah.
like with Cruz present, they were accusing each other of doing coke, and it was just like
Bad.
it was too toxic and too dark. And I think that it really it hammered home the like that Jax Taylor used to be fun TV and is just too sad to watch now and too hard to watch. So I'm glad that he is not on season 3, and I'm excited for it because of that. I think it'll be
Yeah.
a little bit lighter, but I can't disagree that I was a little bit disappointed by the season as a whole.
Yeah. So what do you have next?
My last one, and I hate to even put this on here, but it was Survivor 48.
Okay.
I think that
Yeah.
Survivor 48 had an incredible pre-merge,
Mhm.
potentially the best pre-merge in the new era. But I think that post-merge, it was so predictable because of the strong six. Just made it, they just dominated the whole way to the end. And it just wasn't that fun to watch. A lot of people just be so kind of righteous, self-righteous about the way that the game should be played.
Too
And
much
so,
loyalty.
yeah, too much loyalty and integrity talk.
Yeah.
And very cringy fried chicken and waffles song that I still have stuck in my head to this day. But I resent it for that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it shows up here on this list.
Valid option there. I agree with that. All right. Well, what should we choose?
I think the answer for me is Love Is Blind season 8.
Okay.
It was the one show that I think we talked about that I really couldn't get into. I think everything
Yeah.
else on this list, its worst crime was being boring,
Yeah.
but like I was still I could still watch and be invested to a certain degree. Whereas I think Love Is Blind season 8, it was hard for me to get through.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a good
It was
option
too
then.
much time in the pods,
Yeah,
first of all.
that was a
And that
very
was
big
very
one.
hard to get through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they at least they updated that for season 9. They
yes.
changed that
And
too.
that's why season 9 is not on here.
Yeah, exactly. So
Despite no lasting ripples.
yeah.
But
But
yeah.
season 8, I think that should be the worst show of this
Okay, you
year.
agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that all the reasons you said and what we were talking about, just in general, this season just didn't hit.
Yeah.
So sorry, season 8, you didn't win any, or you won something that you don't want to win.
Yeah. The one negative award
Yeah,
on this list.
but
Sorry.
it had to be done.
Yeah.
So next up, taking a turn here for more positive, is our reality show of the year.
Our best show
Best,
of the
yeah,
year.
the best show of the year. So I have on here as my first option Dancing with the Stars, season 34. Obviously, we love Dancing with the Stars this season, with it being such a exciting cast to watch and just great dancing and all of it that happened. Also seeing on TikTok and everyone being engaged, it just became such a big phenomenon. It seemed like, and just everyone just voting week to week. And I like had to watch it live, otherwise I wouldn't get to vote who I wanted to see. Like the dances, like I just felt so invested in it,
Mhm.
and so and obviously very happy for Robert to have won it as well. So I feel like it just ended the perfect way as well. So what are your thoughts?
Yep, it's on my
Yeah,
list too.
I had a feeling.
I mean it was so fun to
Yeah,
watch. It was one of those shows that I felt like everybody was talking about, and it
yeah,
broke ratings records, and it was just such an incredible season, and it's so fun to see the as someone who has watched Dancing with the Stars since day 1 season 1. And it felt like it had been in such decline for a long time, and it was like the show that 80-year-olds watched in a nursing home. And I felt like I was the only person like in my 20s watching Dancing with the Stars. But now to see it be such so huge on TikTok and be like the youngest skewing show on television, period,
yeah,
is wild to
yeah,
see. And so I love seeing the evolution. I think that this season was such a and I hope it's not the peak. Like I hope
mhm,
it continues to grow and grow and grow,
yeah,
but it feels like it's going to be very hard to beat the ratings that the season had, and just the momentum that this season had. But I think that it was fantastic season, a very competitive season, a very easy to root for with a lot of these couples, and yeah, I loved watching it all the way through.
yes, for sure. Well, obviously that was a good one there. So you want to go through what you have next?
Yes, so this might be something that some people would disagree with, but I have Love Island season 7 as my next option here.
Okay.
Because to me, I know a lot of people felt like it strayed from the goal of Love Island, where it was a, I guess, more toxic season, if you will, and there weren't a lot of, until the very end, strong couples
Mhm,
that came out of it. Or there were couples that came out of it, but until like the last week, it was like, is anyone going to actually last here?
mhm,
Like all these day one couples are dropping like flies. But it was such a moment. It was
mhm.
such, even bigger than season 6, it felt like to me, in terms of just the amount of people watching and being invested in it and talking about it. And the fan base had such strong feelings about it. And that to me is the sign of a good show.
Yeah,
And I think that it was one of those shows that I would, the next morning at work talk about with like all my coworkers. And it's just that's such a rare thing to see these days. And I think that Love Island did it. And that's why it's on here.
yeah. No, that's definitely a good one. I didn't have that on my list, but I see why it was a really great season. What I have next was the Traders season 3. I feel like just Traders overall, we love Traders, and this season we had Gabby and Dylan and all the excitement with that, and just Rob, Boston Rob was there as well, and I feel like just the friendship and all the all the things that happen in Traders are just so much fun to watch. So
Yeah.
I had to mention it.
Yeah, I loved this season of Traders as always. I mean, it was incredible to see Danielle and Brittany's story continue and
Yeah,
unfold, and I loved seeing, like you said, Carolyn as a trader was so much fun. And yeah, it was the start of our Dylan Efron journey that continued with Dancing with the Stars, of
yeah,
course. And yeah, great moments. I think for me, the ending, you know,
yeah.
maybe not the most the way that everyone wanted it to end,
Sure.
unfortunately. So that kind of knocks it a little bit for me. But I
Yeah,
think that I love Traders. It's again a show that I think everybody gets excited and watches the episode as soon as it's airing. It feels like
yeah.
one of those shows right now that is
Oh yeah.
really as big as it's in its peak right now. And so I'm very excited for season 4 coming up very
Me
soon
too.
here. And yeah, I thought season 3 was a very strong season for the most part.
I agree. So that was my next one. What about you?
So last on my list is Survivor AU versus the World.
Okay.
I
That
thought
was
it
so
was
good.
such. I mean, I never been more excited for a show. Like
Mhm.
it was so exciting to see Parvati and Suri and just all of Shani and George and all these people that I was so excited to see again. And I think that for the most part, it did not disappoint. It
Yeah.
was a very, very strong season. I think there were maybe like a couple weeks towards the end that got a little bit slower, but I think for the most part, I don't remember what I remember about it are the positive, the great moments,
Mhm.
the tribal council that we talked about,
Yeah,
the ending to see Parvati get her second win, and yes, it's a full win, Jeff Probst and Jeremy
true.
Collins, but it was yeah, I think a great season, and that it was the first thing that came to mind to me.
That was a good one. I didn't add that just because I feel like not everyone got to see it since it wasn't showed like
Hmm.
widely here. We had to watch it through online streaming
Yeah, 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 yeah.
from websites that share that out online. So I love that season as well. My first time watching Australian Survivor, so that was the top one for me as well. But didn't make it on my list, but I'm glad you added it. And then my last one was Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 3. I just feel like it's just everyone in the cast and just overall just the drama we get and what's going on in their personal lives outside of the show and in the show and the crossover we had in Dancing with the Stars that have an impact throughout. So I guess I have two that are kind of related there because of Whitney and the drama there. I feel like people just are very invested in Secret Lives and seeing what's going on in these women's lives.
It was a great season. I think
Yeah,
it was their best season in my opinion. And yeah, I love so much about the show. Like I
yeah,
think just from the way that they let them break the fourth
oh
wall
yeah.
and I mean there was of course a huge scandal and from like it just picked up. Like it
Mhm.
feels like a lot of times on similar shows like that, like Housewives and things, we get these boring like at home scenes and Selling Sunset, you get like the real estate scenes that really like eat up a lot of the episodes and it's so easy to fast forward.
Yeah,
But with this show, it felt like every scene, it was like, oh, I can't fast forward through this one because yet again, they're like, it's all about the drama.
yeah.
And so it felt like it
There
was
wasn't any fluff really.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. And so I think that's a sign of a great season of a
yeah,
show that they didn't even have time to put in a lot
yeah,
of the fluff that you would normally get. So I
yeah,
think, yeah, it was a fantastic season. And it's a show that I feel like even though it came out a couple months ago at this point, it still feels like people are talking about it. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I think that that's a great sign.
yeah. Well, there was one we both had there, so I think that should be our winner is Dancing with the Stars,
I agree.
season 34, best reality TV show of the year. Congrats, you've won the Chatty. Yay. Okay,
Yay. Mirror
next
ball
up.
coming your way.
Yes. Next up is our last category here. So this one is the reality star of the year. So I'll let you start with your first option.
I have to put Rachel Riley.
Yeah, I knew you were going
Yeah, I
to.
mean, look, to have a her first season in 14 years and back and she never gets nominated, never it has any votes against her and I so wish we could have seen what she would how far she would have gone without that horrible twist. But even with the way that it ended, I mean, it goes out in a very unique, memorable way.
Yeah,
So I think that she proved herself as a BB legend, whereas a lot of people, I think, kind of had a lot of feelings about the way that she won BB 13. And even Taron Armstrong talked when he was
mhm,
on our show about the fact that this season makes him look at BB 13 a little differently. And I think for me it
yeah,
does too, because I think a lot of people felt like she only won that season because of certain twists that they brought in. And that seemed very convenient.
yeah,
But to see how well she was able to do here, I think puts that in a little bit of a different light and is like, well, hey, she is a very good, dangerous player who knows the game and knows how to play. And I think that this to me, like, brought her back into this world and into this relevancy. And I think a lot of new viewers were able to witness the greatness that is Rachel Riley.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I actually didn't have her on my list because I knew you were gonna have her, so I wanted to have a little bit of variety.
Yeah.
But I also love seeing her and her just unfortunate exit, but also kind of worked out in her favor. She never had to get voted out, so
Yep.
so great star of the year nominee for that. And I have on my list Whitney Levitt. I feel like just as a whole, we've seen a lot of her this past year with Dancing with the Stars and Mormon Wives, and now she's gonna be in Chicago, and so she's just living it right now. And I
Yeah.
feel like just obviously her friendships with all the girls isn't totally there, and there's drama there still, but like she just sees past it, just continuing to thrive and go for her goals. So I'm happy to see that, and I think that seeing her shine in Dancing with the Stars really showed us a different side of her as well, and not the edited drama side of it. Versus like now we get to see her performing and dancing, and she's a great dancer, and I'm excited to see her how she does in Chicago as an actor and a singer. So I'm excited to see. I think she's done great.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like a year ago, if you had told me that Whitney Levitt would be on our best reality TV star of the year list after season one of that show, I'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
But now, I mean, it's like she's a different person.
I
It
know.
feels like she has had such a
The hair
transformation,
color,
and
that's what did it.
yeah, and I just think that we saw such a different side of her on season three of Secret Lives, and I think I love her now, and
Yeah,
I never thought I would say that after season one. I think that she is just I love her honesty on that season of, and I appreciated everything that with Dancing with the Stars. I think that she was so incredible in that show too, and I think unfortunately the that season coming out and her honesty there may have impacted her not making the finals on Dancing with the Stars, but I think her journey there was so much fun to watch.
yeah.
And yeah, I love Whitney, and I did not put her on because also I thought I figured you were going
Okay.
to. So instead,
Yes.
I put someone else who also was on Dancing with the Stars this season, who I think had a very interesting journey on two different shows that we already talked a bit about, but Dylan Efron.
I also have
Oh,
him,
okay.
so he's an overlap there. But yeah, I agree that we got to see him. We didn't really know much about him at all. We
Yeah.
just knew his brother, obviously, Zac Efron.
Yep. As
Um,
Mike Bloom found out, though, he is his own person. So.
yes, yeah, Dylan just, I feel like he's such a light, and he just was great to see in Traitors as well as Dancing with the Stars. He always put his heart into it, and just was great. I love him.
Yeah, I think it's so much fun to see in one year someone be on two big shows like that and to
Yeah,
get to see their journey start and then continue. And it feels like we saw Dylan almost all year round.
yeah,
And I think that he is, yeah, he just is such a likable guy. And like, he's not the most like outrageous or like the biggest personality in the room, but I think that he is just so easy to root for. And I think that he is, yeah, it's such a revelation to me that somebody who I had no
yeah.
idea who he was before this, and now I can't imagine. It's so weird to me that we've known him for less than a year.
I know it's wild, but that was a good one. I also had, because I didn't include him in my newbie of the year. I did Riz God as his
Okay,
star of the year. So I feel like just his, as we talked about already, just his infectious
yeah,
personality
yeah.
and the star quality he has. I feel like he just deserves to be a nominee there.
Yeah, I think that Rizgat is a great option here. I think that I only put him in newbie of the year because I felt like he fit better
Yeah,
to me in that category because we met him this year. And Dylan, to a certain degree, we
but
met
he was on
too.
two.
But he was on two, and also he was a known figure to a certain degree.
Yeah,
Like he has been on other shows. Like
yeah,
he had his own show with Zach Efron. I just hadn't watched it, so I didn't know him.
mhm,
But he wasn't technically like a newbie
yeah,
in the reality TV space. But yeah, Riz God I think is such a great personality that we met this year, and I am so excited to see him on 50 as well. And yeah, I think that we've already gotten into his Survivor game, but I think that I certainly see why he's on this list for you.
yeah. All right, well, who do you have
And then
next?
my last one, also staying in the Survivor world, Parvati Shallow.
Uh,
I think that Parvati just had
yes.
such a year. I mean, again, somebody who was on two different shows this year, Dondi, and then Survivor AU versus the World. And I think that those two journeys connected in such an interesting way. Where, of course, she meets David on Dondi. I think that Parvati had kind of the last time we had seen her before that was on Traders, and I think she was, of course, so much fun to watch on Traders, but I don't think that that was her best showing.
Mhm.
And so I think to see her in her element on Dondi, and you can tell like she's on the beach, she's in her element, and it felt like we just saw Parvati come back to life on Dondi and played a perfect game almost. She wasn't even she had safety for I think the first 8 weeks of that show, and then
Yeah,
like the first time she's vulnerable, like at the very very end, then she gets cut, and it's just because of a deal or no deal game.
yeah.
It's not really her doing. But
Mhm.
the fact that she was able to make it so far when David was able to hide his identity, Parvati was not the whole time because Dr. Will uncovered that for the rest of the group who didn't already recognize her. And the fact that she was still able to have safety every single week and make it as far as she did was pretty incredible. And then, of course, we see her right afterwards, just a couple weeks later, goes to film Survivor A versus the World again with David. Doesn't even get to play with David. He gets cut second, and they never are on the same tribe. And she still, even without that connection, is able to make it all the way to the end again with Sari, which was so incredible to watch
Yeah,
Parvati and
so
Sari
amazing.
play again after what 50 it's 17 years,
Yeah.
and to see the conclusion, I would assume, of their story on Survivor together and to again make it to Final Four together was just such an incredible journey. And then she gets to have her second win. And I just feel like this was 2025 was her year.
Yeah, I love Parvati. I didn't add her on mine, but I definitely think she is very well deserving of this award. Of love seeing her and her just strength in those shows. This was like so and like just incredible, and seeing how she could navigate being such a big threat
Yeah.
and still make it all the way to the end in both. Well, she won in Survivor and almost make it to the end
Yeah.
in Dondi. So like I feel like that's she basically won. She didn't win, but like she was close. Uh,
David probably brought her a little
yeah,
something with his money.
probably. But yeah, those are good options here for reality star. Wow. I feel like I'm leaning towards Parvati though. I feel like just
Yeah.
her year just was incredible to see her in both those shows, and I love we'd have to give Survivor something. I don't know if
And
we've
I think
given
that we
them anything
maybe, yeah. And I
yet.
think it's maybe a little bit easy to like forget. It's not, she's not on top of mind because her shows were earlier in the year. So I
Yeah.
think like things like, Whitney on Secret Lives is a little bit more fresh. Rizzo's a little more fresh. So I think
Hmm.
it's easy to like kind of have
Think of
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Parvati, I mean, for the first half of the year,
Yeah.
was just such like we were seeing her every week, like we saw
Hmm.
with Dylan Efron,
Yeah.
but I think that yeah, to me this is an easy choice.
Yes. Well, Parvati, you are our reality TV star of the year. So, yay. Now we have covered off all of our categories here. So, how are you feeling? Do you think everyone is well deserved
Yeah,
here?
I think so. I think that we covered the spectrum and talked
Yeah.
about, I think, basically every show that we covered this year, I think,
Yeah.
in some way. So I think this felt like a very good end of year recap, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. So, we'll be doing chatties again next year. It's now going to be a tradition of ours. So, welcome for our first chatties ever. Or
Yeah,
now it is exciting that we'll continue this throughout.
I
And
can't wait. I hope we
2020,
get some good nominees next
I
year.
know.
I feel like we will. Already with the shows that we have coming up early in the year, I'm very excited,
Me
and I
too.
cannot wait to crown Rob Sesternino Star of the Year.
Yeah, we already have him locked
Yeah.
in. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you follow and listen to podcasts, and follow us on social media at Let's Chat Reality. And we're
Happy New Year,
excited.
everyone.
Yes, almost 2026. So hope you guys all have a great start to your year, or a new year if you're already in 2026 when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So we'll be with y'all again next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye, everyone.